Can you imagine Richard Gere, at 74, confessing who truly captured his heart? This revelation, years in the making, will change everything you believed about the iconic star's love life and romantic past. Early life and career beginnings. On August 31st, 1949, Richard Gere was born in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, into a family that prized diligence and tenacity. Gere's father, Homer George Gere, an insurance agent, was the second of 5 children, and his mother, Doris Ann, stayed home. Growing up in a modest Syracuse, New York home, Gere was molded by the morals his parents taught him: discipline, ambition, and great sensitivity. His close-knit familial background developed a strong awareness of the surroundings, which would subsequently affect his decisions in both his personal life and employment. Gere showed early on a great will to excel in several disciplines. Early on, he developed a love of music and became skilled in the trumpet, piano, and guitar. Music came to define him since it provided him with a creative release and a means of greater connection with people. Apart from his aptitudes in music, Gere was a superb athlete. In high school, he was a gymnast. His physical strength and will won him respect from his peers. Gere was often reflective, considering the more general issues of existence, even with his various gifts. The introspection helped him grow interested in philosophy, the academic discipline he would eventually study. Early on in his life, he was driven to learn and to grasp the complexity of human existence. Later, this intellectual curiosity would show up in his choice of movie roles and dedication to several humanitarian causes. But there was another, more personal aspect of his life he was equally passionate about, while Gere was honing the art of performance in school. Gere studied philosophy while on a gymnastics scholarship at the University of Massachusetts, Amherst, following high school graduation. But his passion for the arts quickly grabbed front stage, and he quit college to pursue acting. Making this choice to follow his passion instead of a more traditional route turned his life around. Gere discovered himself in the competitive and sometimes merciless world of acting. Hence, his leaving from academics also presented difficulties. Early Hollywood years for Gere were defined by struggle and will. Beginning his acting career on stage, he refined his trade and developed a strong awareness of character and feeling. He appeared in several shows, including Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead, when his captivating stage presence drew notice. He clearly committed himself to his trade, spending many hours honing his performances and challenging himself to reach fresh, creative heights. Gere tried to break into film, but despite his rising profile in the theater scene, he encountered many rejections and disappointments. For any rookie, Hollywood in the 1970s was demanding. Gere was no exception. His tenacity paid off, though, when he earned the main part in London's stage rendition of Grease. This part highlighted his natural ability and captivating demeanor, which won him praise from critics and created new movie business prospects. Among his ascent to popularity on stage, one could wonder, what part did love and relationships play in forming the young actor? Gere started to climb to Hollywood success when he turned to films in the middle of the 1970s. His first major performance was in the 1977 film Looking for Mr. Goodbar, in which he portrayed a disturbed vagabond whose character let him investigate the darkest sides of human nature. This part, together with his performances in Days of Heaven in 1978, in which he portrayed a farm laborer involved in a love triangle, demonstrated his ability to give his character richness and nuance. These early roles helped Gere establish himself as a gifted actor, able to assume difficult and complex parts. The public's curiosity in Gere's personal life grew along with his career's impetus. In tabloids as much as in movies, His strong screen presence and dazzling appearance made him a sought-after leading man. The media started to examine his relationships thoroughly, depicting him as a Hollywood hottie whose love life was as fascinating as his acting parts. Though pleasing, this attention also presented difficulties, since Gere had to keep authenticity and seclusion in front of continuous media attention. By the time Gere acted in American Jiggalo, 1980, he had established himself as a top guy in Hollywood. He shot to international recognition in the movie when he portrayed a pricey escort caught in a murder probe. Audiences responded favorably to Gere's performance of the sophisticated, mysterious persona, therefore confirming his reputation as a sex symbol. But along with fresh demands and expectations, both personally and professionally, this increasing popularity also came. Everyone's mind turned to, how did his early experiences with love influence the man he was becoming? The rise to fame and notable relationships. Richard Gere's career peaked in the 1980s, thanks in great part to his mesmerizing performances and indisputable screen presence. His performance in American Jiggalo in 1980 was revolutionary, establishing his reputation as among Hollywood's most sought-after leading males, and thereby marking a turning point. Audiences all across were enthralled with Gere's performance as Julian Kay, a suave and mysterious escort entangled in a web of intrigue. The popularity of the movie was a monument to Gere's acting ability, as well as his capacity to portray a character that spoke to the sensibilities of the time: charm, danger, and sophistication. This part brought Gere more recognition, and almost suddenly his star power surged. After American Jiggalo was successful, Gere assumed another classic part in An Officer and a Gentleman in 1982. Featuring Gere as the tough yet vulnerable naval aviation officer candidate Zach Mayo, the movie was a huge box office smash. Gere's passionate and emotionally driven performance won him praise from critics, including a Golden Globe nomination. The well-known ending of the film, in which Gere's character sweeps Deborah Winger's character off her feet, established a cultural benchmark, so strengthening Gere's reputation as a love idol. Richard Gere was not only a great actor by the middle of the 1980s, he was a symbol of passion, tenacity, and the romantic values that enthralled viewers all around. But behind the scenes of his explosive climb, was there a deeper story connected to his personal life that influenced his success? The public's curiosity with Gere's personal life rose along with his popularity, especially with his relationships with some of the most well-known ladies of the day. Supermodel Cindy Crawford was one of his most often discussed partners. The pair first crossed paths in the late 1980s and had an obvious chemistry. Soon among Hollywood's most glitzy couples were Gere's charismatic charm and Crawford's supermodel appeal. Media scrutiny focused especially on their relationship despite a 17-year age difference. Paparazzi trailed their every step, and their appearances on the red carpets and high-profile events were scattered throughout newspapers everywhere. The couple became a tabloid standard after their marriage in 1991 heightened the media frenzy. They were seen at the time to be the height of Hollywood glitz, a power couple with unequaled combined star power. Still, the public's great focus on their relationship caused major strain. At the height of their respective professions, both Gere and Crawford were juggling their rigorous schedules with the demands of their well-publicized relationship, which proved difficult. Their marriage suffered even with their apparently flawless appearance from the continuous scrutiny. But did their relationship suffer in ways nobody would have predicted from the continuous media coverage? Gere and Crawford's difficulties were not particular to them. Rather, their public profile magnified these difficulties. The constant attention on their relationship made clear how tough it is to preserve a private existence under public view. Though they made every effort to keep their marriage intact, the outside demands finally helped them to separate in 1995. Widespread media coverage accompanied their divorce, and many speculated on the causes of their split. Later on, Gere and Crawford thought back on their relationship with respect, realizing they could not completely transcend the great public scrutiny. Gere's romantic life during this time encompassed more than only his romance with Cindy Crawford. Gere was connected to a number of other eminent women before meeting Crawford, including artist Sylvia Martins and actress Penelope Milford. Beginning in the 1970s, his relationship with Milford was especially important throughout his early career ascent to popularity. Talented actress Milford, in her own right, bonded well with Gere on both intellectual and emotional levels. Their partnership was characterized by a mutual regard for each other's work and by support of one another through career highs and lows. But as Gere's popularity grew, the demands of his developing stardom started to sour their relationship. Likewise, Gere's 1980s relationship with artist Sylvia Martins was marked by a mutual appreciation of art and imagination. Renowned for her vivid and passionate artwork, Martins gave Gere artistic satisfaction. Though passionate, their relationship was nevertheless under pressure from Gere's developing profession. Sometimes Gere's personal life took precedence over his career. The media's emphasis on his romances sometimes eclipsed his playing parts. Gere's life became more complex as he negotiated the demands of being a prominent person whose personal life was under continual observation. Notwithstanding these obstacles, Gere stayed committed to his trade. He deliberately chose parts that would let him highlight his acting versatility, refusing to fit the heartthrob picture that had been pushed onto him. Movies showing Gere's flexibility and dedication to his work included Breathless in 1983 and The Cotton Club in 1984. By the end of the 1980s, Gere had firmly established himself as not merely a box office star, but also an actor of substance, able to give strong performances over a range of genres. One wonders, how much did his romantic choices shape the path of his career, as Gere juggled the demands of his career and his love life? In many aspects, Gere's romantic decisions affected the roles he selected and public opinion of him, therefore guiding his career path. Though sometimes turbulent, his relationships gave him emotional depth and experiences he directed into his performances. The lessons he discovered from love and grief during this time not only helped him grow as a man, but also as an artist, enhancing his cinematic representations of challenging characters. You won't believe the link between his romantic decisions and career achievement. The secret love of his life. Although Richard Gere has always been somewhat reserved about his personal life, lately he made a shocking admission that shocked both the media and supporters. Gere revealed that for decades he had kept a woman out of public view, the actual love of his life. Alejandra Silva is a Spanish publicist and activist. Though they tied the knot in 2018, their love story started years before they were wedded. First meeting in 2014 through mutual friends, Gere and Silva connected right away and deeply. Though the public is fascinated in Gere's former high-profile relationships, his connection with Silva was different, deeply personal, and far from the spotlight. But what does this tell about Gere's actual feelings? How did he manage to keep such a major portion of his life secret for so long? Gere and Silva's relationship was not merely another Hollywood romance. They were resolved from the start to keep their love hidden from the constant public scrutiny. Gere's earlier partnerships taught him lessons about which this choice was particularly based. The media's intervention frequently led to stress and upheaval in these relationships. But Gere's connection with Silva was one of peace and harmony he had long yearned for. Their mutual principles, particularly a love of humanitarian work, helped to deepen their relationship. Gere was quietly developing a life with a lady who really understood and supported him, while the public speculated on his love life. How did this relationship affect Gere's personal development and alter the direction of his career? The love Gere discovered with Silva had a significant impact on his career, as well as his life. Gere had been a Hollywood darling for years, but his connection with Silva helped him to separate from the public image and concentrate on more important facets of his life. The pair drew closer and gave Gere fresh direction because of their shared dedication to humanitarian concerns, including their work with underprivileged populations and refugees. As he started looking for initiatives that matched his ideals and interests, this relationship also affected the responsibilities he decided upon later in his career. One wonders what surprising revelations this love story brings to light as Gere embraced this new chapter of his life. Challenges and struggles. Along with his ascent to prominence, Richard Gere had both personal and professional obstacles that frequently left him struggling with Hollywood's demands. As his star power developed in the 1980s and 1990s, his time and energy became increasingly under demand. Gere discovered he was having trouble juggling his personal life with his job, which set off a sequence of publicly visible relationship problems. Although his relationship with supermodel Cindy Crawford was among the most well-publicized of the period, the continual media scrutiny severely strains their marriage and finally results in their divorce in 1995. But what was really going on behind the scenes that led to their separation? The world saw a glitzy Hollywood couple. Gere started a deep spiritual trip during these stormy years that would profoundly affect his personal and business life. Early in the 1990s, Gere became quite immersed in Buddhism, which gave him a fresh outlook on relationships and life. But since not everyone in his life supported or understood his spiritual path, this awakening set him apart from some of the individuals closest to him. Gere's commitment to Buddhism also affected his work path. He accepted employment that fit his spiritual principles, often declining more attractive offers that conflicted with his values. What sacrifices did Gere make in his career because of his spiritual journey? How did it challenge his relationships? Notwithstanding these difficulties, Gere's spiritual path finally turned into a source of strength, enabling him to negotiate the ups and downs of his personal life. As an actor as well as a person, he came to see that growing through hardship is inevitable. His hardships taught him valuable lessons that helped him to approach his relationships with fresh insight and understanding. The parts he selected later in his career mirrored this maturity as Gere aimed to capture the resiliency and depth he had developed in his own life. The question remains, how did this shape the man he is today? Gere asked as he squarely confronted these obstacles. How does the public view his life? The public view of Richard Gere's life was two-edged. Though celebrity brought him great prosperity and admiration, it also brought constant media scrutiny that affected his personal life. Gere was a media darling because of his beauty and charm, but his personal life was complicated by this attention that frequently crossed over. His marriage to supermodel Cindy Crawford stands among the most notable instances of this. Married in 1991, the couple was always under public scrutiny as the press broke out every element of their relationship. Their marriage suffered intolerable pressure from this close examination, which helped to lead their ultimate divorce in 1995. But what was the turning point that led to their breakup? And could it have been avoided if the media hadn't been so intrusive? Gere's marriage to Crawford was merely one relationship touched by his notoriety. Likewise difficult was his later marriage to actress Carrie Lowell. Gere and Lowell were married in 2002, which looked like the ideal marriage. Their relationship was not perfect, Nevertheless, nor unaffected by the demands of public awareness. Their career's demands and the media's continuous attention caused conflict. Announcing their split in 2013, the couple cited irreconcilable disagreements. The protracted and well-reported divorce proceedings further complicated their attempts to keep their son, Homer, in some sort of normalcy. What could have been done differently, and how did the media's relentless focus on Gere's personal life affect his ability to maintain healthy relationships? Gere's encounters with media intrusion into his personal life provided a warning about the darker side of celebrity. Maintaining a public image while negotiating the complexity of intimate connections proved to be an ongoing struggle. Gere frequently discussed the challenge of maintaining his personal life secret, particularly in light of the fact that it felt as though everyone else was observing. This scrutiny affected his approach to his job as much as his marriages. Gere started to choose assignments that let him step back from the limelight and concentrate on his personal development, becoming more choosy about the roles he played over time. One crucial mistake nearly cost him everything. What was it, and how did he recover? Gere learnt to negotiate the complexity of fame and love. The Confession. Renowned for his illustrious career and the many women who have captivated his life, Richard Gere has always maintained an air of mystery. Despite his high-profile relationships and public romances, Gere has largely kept his personal life under wraps, fueling curiosity and speculation over the years. However, in a recent and unexpected revelation, Gere made a confession that left both fans and the media in shock. During a poignant interview, the veteran actor disclosed that he has never before publicly acknowledged the true love of his life, a relationship that has remained hidden from the public eye. This surprising admission has sparked intense interest and speculation, as people now scramble to piece together the timeline of his secret affair. As the media delves into Gere's past relationships, trying to uncover more details, this revelation has added a new layer of intrigue to his already fascinating personal narrative, deepening the mystique surrounding his life. But after years of silence, why did Gere decide to share this now? What secrets has Gere been carrying all these years, and why did he feel compelled to share this truth now? It is noteworthy that Gere chose this moment in his life to reveal the name of his true love. At 74, Gere is not just reflecting on his illustrious career, but also contemplating his legacy. The timing of this disclosure suggests a desire to set the record straight while he still has the chance. Perhaps he felt it was finally time to acknowledge the relationship that mattered most to him, now with the clarity and wisdom that comes with age. This revelation not only alters public perception, but also adds a profound layer of complexity to Gere's personal narrative, solidifying his legacy as one of depth and authenticity. But how does this revelation change our view of Gere now and affect his legacy? Gere's public image has surely changed dramatically with the disclosure. Gere was considered for decades as the classic Hollywood bachelor, a man who never really could relax. But this confession presents a different picture, one of a man who maybe loved intensely, but decided to keep that love secret for reasons only he knows. The public's reaction to this has been divided. Some praise Gere for at last being candid, while others wonder why he kept this love secret for so long. Whatever the response, one thing is certain: Gere has been humanized in a manner few could have predicted by this confession. As we probe further into this revelation, the question remains: how does this change our understanding of Gere's past relationships and his journey through life? Impact on his current life. Richard Gere's recent revelation about the love of his life has undoubtedly stirred emotions for both him personally and for those who have followed his storied career. This candid admission marks a significant shift in how Gere addresses his past, acknowledging the profound influence that his former relationships and a long-held secret love have had on his current life. As Gere enters his later years, he has become increasingly introspective, reflecting on how his past decisions have shaped his present reality. Gere's career has been characterized by his portrayal of complex characters, but his personal life reveals an equally intricate narrative. The relationships that once dominated tabloid headlines have now become a tapestry of memories, offering valuable insights into his journey through love and life. Each relationship has contributed to his understanding of love, loyalty, and the intricate challenges of human connection. As he looks back, Gere acknowledges that his experiences in love have taught him important lessons about the nature of relationships and personal growth. The once private details of his romantic life now serve as a source of reflection, helping him make sense of how these experiences have influenced his emotional landscape and personal development. This newfound openness about his past enriches our perception of Gere, showing that his life and legacy are shaped by more than just on-screen performances. His story is one of profound personal evolution, marked by the enduring impact of love and the wisdom gained from navigating its complexities. But how does Gere's relationships now shape these memories, and what lessons has he carried forward? Gere's current relationships reflect the wisdom he has gained through decades of life experience. Now married to Spanish activist Alejandra Silva, with whom he shares 2 young children, Gere has finally found a sense of stability and tranquility that once seemed out of reach. This stage of his life is defined by a profound dedication to family and a conscious choice to live more quietly, away from the relentless glare of public attention. His recent admission about the true love of his life adds a new layer of depth to his story, revealing a man who now fully embraces the value of authentic relationships and the importance of nurturing those closest to you. Despite the continued public interest in his life, Gere remains steadfast in his focus on what truly matters, the well-being of his family and the legacy he hopes to leave behind, one defined by love, integrity, and lasting connections. So, what does this fresh stability mean for Gere's continuing path, both personally and professionally? Often considering the nature of love and how it has changed for him over time, Gere negotiates his later years. Gere answers honestly in interviews regarding the lessons he has acquired and how they shape his perspectives of life. His admission of his actual love reflects his development and conception of what love truly entails, not only a disclosure. Gere welcomes the small pleasures of family, spirituality, and giving back, and now approaches life with peace and clarity. Gere is still quite much active, but on his own terms, shown by his continuous involvement in humanitarian causes and selective approach to performing. And now, with this wisdom in hand, what might Gere do as he continues to shape his legacy? Reflections and legacy. Over decades, Richard Gere's career has been defined by iconic roles that have firmly established him as a Hollywood legend. From his breakthrough performance in American Jiggalo to his celebrated roles in Pretty Woman and Chicago, Gere has captivated audiences with his talent and charisma. However, as we reflect on his enduring legacy, it becomes clear that his story extends beyond the silver screen. His relationships and personal experiences have been as pivotal in shaping his life as his career achievements. Gere's journey through love and life has been marked by significant moments that reveal a man of depth and complexity. His ability to navigate the highs and lows of personal relationships with grace and introspection adds a rich layer to his public persona. Recently, Gere's admission about the true love of his life introduces a deeply personal and moving chapter to his story. This revelation not only reshapes our understanding of him as an actor, but also offers a fresh perspective on his personal narrative. By acknowledging the profound impact of his relationships, Gere enhances the appreciation of his multifaceted legacy. His story is no longer just about his roles and accolades, but also about the emotional and personal experiences that have defined him. This disclosure invites us to view Gere's legacy through a more nuanced lens, recognizing the profound intersections between his professional success and his personal growth. But what does this confession expose about the actual nature of his legacy, and how does it change the way we view the man behind the roles? Over his career, Gere's public image has revolved much around his relationships. From his well-publicized marriage to Cindy Crawford to his more discreet romances, these relationships have helped to define his decisions both emotionally and professionally. His relationships reflected the multifarious, passionate, and occasionally turbulent nature of the people he portrayed. Audiences have always found great interest in the contrast between his on-screen roles and off-screen life, making Gere a figure of respect and inquiry. Gere notes as he considers his path and how these interactions have shaped his perspective of himself as well as his career. The admission of his actual love marks the pinnacle of this introspection, a moment when his personal and professional spheres really collide. What then can we learn from the ways in which Gere's personal life has shaped his art, and vice versa? Deeply entwined with Gere's profession is a life narrative of love and grief. His latest admission gives his legacy more sensitivity, since it shows that even someone as successful as Gere has struggled with unmet love. This revelation matches the greater story of his life as a man who has always yearned for something more significant, something deeper in both his personal life and his profession. Whether he was portraying someone dealing with the complexity of love or a man battling for justice, Gere's portrayals typically represented his inner world, that yearning. Looking back now, Gere's legacy transcends mere film production to include the events that molded him personally. In the end, how would those who have followed Gere's path view his legacy, which is defined by these reflections on love and loss? Richard Gere realizes that his legacy extends beyond his acclaimed acting career, encompassing his life's triumphs, trials, and profound experiences that have shaped him. His reflections on love and loss reveal a deeply personal journey marked by remarkable successes and poignant disappointments. Gere's admissions about the love of his life closes a chapter previously unknown to the public, shedding light on the emotional depth behind his public persona. This revelation underscores that even those who appear to have it all often search for something profoundly meaningful. Therefore, Gere's legacy is not just about his professional achievements, but also about his rich, passionate pursuit of deeper truths and connections. His ongoing journey, shaped by love, personal growth, and artistic expression, ensures that his legacy will continue to evolve ensures that his legacy will continue to evolve, enriched by the insights and experiences of a man who has lived fully and loved deeply. Richard Gere's confession offered a profound insight into his personal journey, revealing the depth behind his public persona.